and welcome to another TRT Q&A with me, Paulo Bricado. And today's question comes from Glurb Schlurb, and he says, what a cool name. He says, "Thank you so much for your great informative videos. I can't wait to get on TRT, but the only option here in Norway is Nebido or gels. I'm afraid of having the levels dip between treatments. It seems like black market self-medicating is the only effective option here. Any thoughts? Great channel." Okay, so I'm going to start off with the last part of your question, where you ask, where you say it seems like the black market self-medicating is the only option. No, do not do that. I don't know why you've got that thought in your head, and I see it a lot on my channel. A lot of guys, the first thing they want to do when they have a little bit of difficulty getting treatment, or they don't get the exact treatment that they want, is they want to go to the black market. No, you don't want to go that route. You don't know what you get in there. You don't know the quality of the stuff. It's just bad news. That shouldn't even be an option for pretty much everybody, right? So again, I don't even know why you want to go to the black market, because you've got two very viable options here. You've got Nebido and you've got the gels. Now, I don't know which gel they're planning to give you, but I know some people have a lot of success with gel and some people don't. So it's one of those things where if you have it as an option, why not try it? See how it goes, and if it does work or it doesn't work, then you know, and you can move to something else if it doesn't work. But why rule it out if you haven't tried it yet, and you might have a viable option that works for you and you're just ignoring it? Okay, so that's the gels. I'm going to move on to Nebido though, because you did say that you can get Nebido, and I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't want to take Nebido. I was on Nebido for many years. That was the testosterone that I was on for the longest, and I only had good results with it. In fact, if it was easier to get hold of here and it was fairly cheap, cheaper, let's say, than Testosterone, I probably would stay on Nebido because I had no issues with it. Now I want to move on to your main concern, which is the dips. Right, so you say you're worried about the dips between treatments, right? That's got nothing to do with the type of testosterone. We're not having dips because we're using Nebido or because we're using gels. We normally have dips because of the timing between shots, right? You can have a dip on any type of testosterone, enanthate, Testosterone. It all depends on how you time your shots and how they stack together. So if you take too long to get your next shot on any type of testosterone, even Testosterone, for example, right? If you take too long, your levels are going to dip. It's got nothing to do with the type of testosterone. So there's really no reason to exclude Nebido. Now, why people have maybe report dips a little bit more on Nebido is because Nebido usually recommends a 10 to 14 week period, in which you are treated for, between injections. So you have one injection, and then they usually recommend 10 to 14 weeks before you get your next injection. Now, if you've had Nebido before, like I have, most of the times your doctor is going to base it on how you feel and where you start to dip. There were many times where my doctor gave me my shot at week number 7 or week number 8, and other times there were times where I would get my shot around about week 10 or week 12 even, all depending on how I felt. And you really, these dips, because Nebido is so gradual on and gradual off, the dips are not as bad as if you were on any sort of other shorter release testosterone, like, let's say testosterone enanthate or Testosterone or something like that. You kind of go up quickly and then you go down a lot faster. With Nebido, it's kind of more of a smoother up and a down. So when you do start feeling that sort of dip, if you even feel it, then you just go get your next shot. And before it gets bad at all, your next shot starts to kick in again. So it's not really like a huge dip, but more kind of like a little wobble before you get back on treatment. Now, if you want to avoid that, you can just make sure that your injections overlap. So let's say that you, after a couple of months on Nebido, you found that you usually wear off after week 8 or 9, you start to feel a dip. That's been the pattern. Then all you do is you arrange with your doctor to make sure that you get your shot exactly every 8 or 9 weeks before that dip occurs. And that way you can avoid the dip, and you'll have no problem using Nebido, and it should solve most of your symptoms that you have if low T is the actual problem that you have. Now, you said here that that's the option in Norway. I don't know if you've been to see a doctor or not, but go see your doctor first. That's always the first port of call that you do when you have a suspicion that maybe you have low T, go to your doctor, get the blood work done, and see what they say. And if they can give you Nebido or gels, I see no reason not to go for it, even if that's all that's available. There's no reason to go to the black market here, and I just want to stress that. There's absolutely no reason to go to the black market, and going to the black market is just a recipe for disaster, so I'm not even going to go into that today. I just wanted to let you know that you will have no problem with Nebido. It worked perfectly fine for me, and lots of other guys are treated successfully with it. So try it out first, and if you find you have issues with the treatments that you're getting, then address them then. But don't presume that you're going to have issues before you've even tried the treatment. So that's all I wanted to say today. Thanks for watching, and I'll be getting to more of your questions very soon, and I'll check you in the next video. Cheers.